Greetings, Marines! FiOth here, and today I'm bringing you a new weapon modding guide. Can you believe this shit? We actually have new stuff to mod. Man, I've been waiting for this for a long time. So, we got 4 new weapons, an automatic sniper rifle, a riot pistol/shotgun, a heavy laser, and this, the breaching scattergun. Because 3 out of 4 of these weapons are very niche in the way they're used, I am going to start with a scattergun that is the most straightforward, and I'm gonna move from there and daily present you with a modding guide for each of the upcoming weapons, and of course alternatives down the road. What I have to make absolutely clear to you right now is that this modding includes only mods that were available up to season 3. That's because I want you to take the gun, mod it optimally, and be able to use it right away. So none of the new ones, although I got a few, I want people to be able to use this thing today. In the following weeks, after I get every mod, I will be coming back and remodding if anything needs changing. Some of the new attachments are indeed very, very powerful. So let's see what we can do with this thing up to season 3. When I started looking at this, I was like, I'm gonna make 2 builds for it. One will be for everything except for the Lancer, and one will be for the Lancer, because Lancer with Onslaught and this thing, I suspect it would be a very, very efficient slaying machine. But what I realize is that the way the weapon behaves does not really leave much room for, more experimental modding. So let's see what's what. It is, of course, a scattergun with very low accuracy, 47, and very low stability, 49. It boasts a huge firing reticule. Damage is 135, reload time is 1.1, max ammo is 201, stumble chance is 52.5, fire rate of 4.1, magazine capacity 12, weak point damage or favorite handling bonus of 0. That is with all my attachments on. If I take them off, you see that the fire rate lands at 3. That's the most important thing we have to be aware of, and max ammo drops by around 57 rounds here. I never trust these numbers 100% because, it's been glitchy for a long time. Also, the accuracy diminishes dramatically, so if you get the vanilla scattergun, that's what you start with. This is the stats that you start with. Totally upgraded, it gets plus 5% stumble chance, then 5% fire rate, then 5% accuracy, and then when it's maxed out, plus 0.5 stumble chance and fire rate on hit for 3 seconds. This effect stacks per projectile that hits and stacks up to 10 times, reaching a 5%. Okay, so the gun has the potential to be really, really fast firing, but it has some inherent weaknesses. First and foremost, the targeting reticule, whilst not ADS, is as big as the Marine. If you ADS, it becomes as big as half the Marine. In this cone, you get a lot of scatter rounds and a lot of recoil. Like, the recoil of this thing is ridiculous. You always have to compensate by pulling down on your targeting stick. For most people, it's the right stick. Of course, if you're playing on a PC, it does not apply to the mouse because most weapons are recoilless on PC. What can we do this to make it better? Well, here is my dilemma with the non-existent Lancer configuration. This gun's weakness under stress scenarios like burning down an Ultra with overclock and this gun is you will have a lot of downtime with your reloads, because reload on this thing really takes you out of your ADS focus, and because of its dual shot nature, you wanna get a beat on the enemy and just spam on them. I was thinking I'd go for reload, to be absolutely honest with you, but it is impossible if you wanna have optimal DPS. Going into the small muzzles, you have to go recoil booster for the 20% fire rate. It also tremendously helps the stability. If you see, the stability will go from 29 to 49. The fire rate that you gets your fire rate from 3 to 3.6. Okay, this is pretty huge. It's a 0.6 increase. Then if you go to medium magazine and you opt for, let's say, alloyed, you go from reload time of 1.1 to 0.98 and plus 3 shells in the mag. It's not bad, but for these weapons that rely on fast firing in order to put out as much damage as possible, casket is the only way to go. It's 20%, takes your fire rate to 4.1. This is kinda crazy if you consider firing it in overclock. When it comes to small optics, what we want to do is make sure we have as small of a spread as possible and as much damage as possible. So it was self-explanatory for me that I would go with micro dot and yeah, reap the benefits. If you know about micro dot, you already see a pattern when I refer to the Lancer. You get more damage when stationary, and overclock will cap your fire rate, whilst onslaught will give you zero need to ever reload whilst on it. And then you always take advantage of max fire rate from this and this. There was no reason for me to make another build for the Lancer. And that's where the gun's inherent weakness becomes apparent. No matter what you do, you either sacrifice a lot of accuracy or you sacrifice a lot of DPS. Going for reload is nonsensical with this thing. You have to use it with specific builds after specific conditions have been met, specific circumstances, let's say. If I overclock this thing and fire it, I can still feel the downtime from my reloads, but on my Vanguard 2.0 build I can get out 3 whole magazines, which is not bad by any metric, but there is no way in hell this thing will ever outperform the pump. I'm gonna shoot once here, and as you can see we have 4, 7, 9, 10, 15 pellets. Okay, it fires 15 pellets. It has the potential to do very high damage with the numbers we're seeing, but even if you are extremely close to a runner on Extreme or Insane, you will rarely get the one-hit kills unless you land most of those pellets in the head. Remember, a runner is about 2500, 2700 HP on Insane, so it is a viable solution if you want those fast popping double shots, but it's not gonna be top dog. Like, there's no way it's ever gonna beat the pump. What it can do is serve the Lancer on an onslaught overclock combo configuration. And if you ask me whether this or the Medved is better for, you know, an onslaught Lancer with a gunner on the team, I'd say this beats the Medved, mainly because of the ease of use. Because you don't have to reload and those 2 shots come out back to back, and if you are aiming correctly, you can dish out a lot of damage. There is a ton of utility you can add to this thing to make it better. Dock stims, recon with the right pups and drone attachments. Make the reticule as small as possible and you can dish out very, very good damage. It's a fresh thing to play around with. It's an efficient and effective thing to play around with. It's just that the way it's made has restrictions. You know how with the pump you sometimes think, oh yeah, I can try this configuration, it will probably work. I can try that kind of attachment, it will probably work. And most of the time you end up with a very, very effective weapon, whether you go for stumble, instant reloads, or even crit, because, you know, it has a very, very, very tight cone. This thing cannot really go many ways. You will end up pretty much with this if you want to be optimal. And with this, it is a good gun. It is very serviceable under most of the circumstances. So, recoil booster, casket mag, and microdot is what I suggest up to Season 3. If the need arises, I will come back to the weapon, remod it, and present to you something new and hopefully interesting. So, sub, like, share, hit the notifications bell if you want to be notified about everything that I will uploading, and the streams, of course, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We will be covering everything, and now that crossplay is here, we will be playing with anyone who wants to participate. If you really want to help the channel, consider Patreon or get a membership. And until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection, Marines. Cheers!